thing working now? Good Lord. I swear. Papa, what's up, man? Oh, I noticed. I actually noticed this time. One of these days, brother, one of these days I'm going to get this thing going without a hitch. I'm going to have no issues. And I'm just going to... I have no idea why it changed the microphone from this. I haven't done anything with it. How you doing, Papa? It's good to see you in here. Today's I was saying at the beginning, that today is a heavy subject, and maybe what's my thing? Hi, DK. Love you, brother. Hope everything's going well. And I understand you can't stay. And what do you mean maybe that's my thing that I screw up before? You stink. And you're probably right. I wanted my thing to be everybody loves a Duke. Or Callie. Or Penny. Actually, no, that is my thing. My thing is at almost 7 o'clock on the dot, Duke starts bitching at me that he wants to go out and he doesn't want me on the computer anymore. He has actually done that since he was a year and a half old. He's a goofy dog. But I love him. And, you know, that old saying about I just pay the mortgage. It's really the pet's house. It's really Duke's house. I just pay the mortgage. You don't know how true that actually is. So maybe that'll be my thing. Let's let that be my thing so that my alarm dog goes off at 7. Sorry. Allergies as usual. My water's over here, and I am not doing good today with my drinking of the water. So, the Brandon Act is now law, and I am very, very glad for that. There's a lot to unpack just because all right, so here's the thing that really grinds my gears, let's put it that way, since I'm a mechanic. Getting crapped on by your leadership, actually tormented by your leadership. I don't use that bullying term. That doesn't apply. Bullying is not the term that applies when it's your leadership doing it to you. That's torment, because their leadership, you're the lower ranking troop that is probably brand new or hasn't been in very long and can't, in your mind, after basic, it's drilled in your mind that you never screw with the higher ranking individuals. You follow every order. And then it was, the way I explain it, when I first enlisted in 1992, it was still in the Air Force. It was still the mentality of the Vietnam era. Females don't belong in this career field, that career field, my career field, security, police. Huge difference in what? That stupid heart. I can't see if you have a word after there's a huge difference. I can't see if there's a freaking, because I got freaking hearts, or that heart thing. Ugh. Ugh. And now what did I do? I closed something. I had to close the chat so I can open it back up. And now see what you're saying. Okay, so there is a huge difference. And yes, there is, depending on what you're talking about, because now that it's gone up a little past the stupid little heart in the circle, I wish OBS would just find a way to just remove that so that it's not in the way. So annoying. Don't like it at all. Oh, there is a huge difference. I agree. That's the other reason why I don't refer to it as bullying and I refer to it as torment. Because, okay, here's the thing. I'm going to use myself as an example. It just makes sense. I mean, you know me. I'm authentic. What you see is what you get. I don't... What are you looking at? You alright? Penny. What you doing? Relax. There's the tail. Little thumpy thump. You be a good girl, okay? You gonna be a good girl? You are. Good girl. Okay. Oh, it's finally gone on yours. Well, it's still there on mine. Water. Okay. So, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. Was that I'm going to use myself as the example. When I first enlisted in June 1992, June 18th, I was in basic training in Texas. Didn't really plan that one out too well. Very hot in Texas in June. I was, because we were like 18-year-olds, I would say this I would classify or use the word of bullying. Was that because I was different and I had my ridiculous be the kind of American worth fighting for. That's what's on my shirt. It's Adam Calhoun. A-Cal. Doing awesome things. But yep. How it is. Be the kind of American worth fighting for. I love this shirt. I got so many compliments about it today. It was great. Hey, cut that out. Ben. Would you quit? Come here. Come here. You want to come say hi? They won't be able to see you, so you're safe. Hopefully you can hear the thump. Yeah. Adam Calhoun has done great things. Yeah, I bought this right as his website first went up to sell it. It's like, basically it's his thing that he says is, if you're gonna wear a political shirt, or not political, fucking stupid, if you're gonna wear a patriotic shirt, it should at least be made in the United States of America. So this shirt was made in America. Has a great freaking saying on it. I loves it. Oh, it's right there. I loves it. And it's so comfy and soft. Okay, so back to what I was starting to explain. You got a kid that's different. I had a ridiculous accent. I was very, I mean, I had been bullied all of my life, actually, that I can remember. I mean, it was constant in school from elementary school all the way up until I escaped for my last 2 years of high school to a good high school. And I was able to escape. That's the way I put it. And my escape plan, when the Air Force recruiter was there at lunch in East Providence High School, I went and talked to him. I liked what he said. It's Rhode Island. I was brought up to be a patriot. I mean, it's just what we do there. It's New England. And that was my escape route out of Rhode Island, because I knew if I stayed in Rhode Island, it was a dead end. There was nothing for me there. And I was right. Now that I have hindsight and I can go back, and we've got Facebook, that I can go back and see how right I was. But UK? I got an ear. So it just transferred from school, had a break for 2 years at a good high school, enlisted in the Air Force, delayed enlistment. My parents had to sign the paperwork. My mom wasn't happy. My dad, I don't honestly remember what he even thought. I don't think he gave a shit either way, to be honest. But it was what I wanted to do, and my mom supported me in it, even though she didn't like it. So, big props, Mom. You were an awesome mom before being an awesome mom was a thing that everybody likes to brag about their awesome mom. So, not even a week. I hadn't even been at Lackland for a week. And my accent, it's like the way it was then. I did my best to lose it, and apparently people can hear it when I'm pissed. I worked my ass off to get rid of it because of the bullying and the garbage that I went through my first 2 years in enlistment, and in, well, even just in basic training. I think New York City type accent, but different. It's like, for example, where I grew up, the word for the water fountain was the bubbler. Bubbler. That's how you said it. I'm not saying it right, which I honestly don't think I can say it right anymore. Well, not right, but the way I used to say it. But I caught everybody's attention. Hey, Derek, what's up? Good to see you, man. Everything's going pretty good here, and hopefully everything's still going good with Papa, because that's the question I asked him when I first came on. Moving stuff. I drew attention because, I mean, I actually think it was like maybe the second or third day that I was in basic training that I asked my TI where the bubbler was. Now I'm saying it correctly, bubbler, but it's Bubblah is actually how it came out when I asked. Bubbler it's like a slurred, long, countrified New York accent, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. And I can't do it anymore, thank God. So, and that Pak the Ka and Harvard Yard doesn't really, that's kind of Nice. Chilling with the pups. That's awesome. Best thing in the world is to chill with the pups. And I know because I do that almost 24/7. Even when I'm sleeping. Duke's a bed hog. Penny's zonked now. She's laying on her side like somebody went puppy tipping. She scares me though when I'm outside, or when she's outside rather. She likes to lay on her side with her paws straight out, as if somebody literally tipped her. I mean, she's actually holding her paws stiff like that. She's not doing it right now, but she did that when she was a baby too. Only 2 years? That's awesome that you're a dog trainer. Is that your main? Oh dang, Fafa. The Marine recruiter was a little bit more on point then, I guess. I'm gonna turn it off. Okay. That's really cool, Derek. And I'm hoping that that's your main, like, your job, because if it is, that would be out frigging standing. I would love to do that, but I don't have patience for people that, well, I don't have patience for stupid people. It's the long and the short of it. Guess I'm turning into a grumpy old vet. Ah, I wish you lived closer. I have a retaining wall that I need put in. Okay, so when I asked for the bubbler, the TI ripped me a new one, which brought even more attention on me. And then I was the butt of, or I was the target for all of the stupid kid bullying stuff that goes on in high school. Just graduated high school. I had a good last 2 years of school that I was actually able to enjoy. I actually enjoyed my last 2 years of high school at the school that I went to, that I escaped from the one school system that I'd been in since I was like little. No, not really that little, I'm just saying. It all started up. All started right back up. The bullying, the bull crap. It went farther though, because oh, that's funny, Derek. Because shit. Gotta get the brain back on track, sorry. I'm so sick of this freaking multiple sclerosis bullshit. But it could be worse. I'm still able to walk, talk. Yeah, you did. We call that throwing me off track. Usually that's a comics thing to do when he's here, but yep, you got me. You got me. I got thrown off. But the water fountain, the tormenting hadn't started yet. This was bullying still. But this went up a level because the dorm chief, or whatever the hell her name was, and the operating heavy equipment. Is that what you did? That's awesome. So it was almost like CB's then, huh? Guaranteed MOS. Shit. Believe me, I wish I was smarter when I went and did that. Frickin' when I enlisted, I wish I had done more research beforehand. I really only went on what the recruiter had told me. Not off track. Am off track. First one, almost made it to 6:30, Papa. Almost made it to 6:30 without a frickin' yawn. Okay, so what stepped it up a notch was the dorm chief and my fellow element leaders. Air Force element leaders is the front row of the formation that is in charge of pretty much nothing, but damn. Were you special forces or security forces, Garrett? Because security police is what it was when I was in. And I'm telling you, the Air Force changed it to security forces because Shiloh! Oh, well, it's because of what the frickin' topic is for today. Yep, security forces, hot damn. Defensor Fortis. Except when I was in, like I said, it was security police. I'm an old fart. He just put something up new, Shiloh. He had parachuters over his house. Freaking, one of them, did this freaking, you know that whipping around thing where their feet are like this, parachutes over here, and he's spinning like a freaking record? That was cool. That was so cool. Thank you for putting that video up, Papa. That was pretty great. Basically, they took a fellow airman's trainee's ring of whatever and hid it in under my bed. And this is almost like fucking Platoon shit from that movie. I got accused of stealing this little gal's ring or whatever, and nothing ever came of it because it was complete bullshit, obviously. But that was bullying from fellow trainees the same age as me, 18. High school bullshit didn't stop. Once you went in basic training, it got worse. So, I want to get to the Brandon Act that was passed and is now law. This is Brandon Caserta, I believe is how you say his name. He was 21 years old, and he committed suicide June 25th of 2018. It's been a while since the Brandon Act has been, people have been working on it. Martha McSally was the one that initially brought it to I think it was to the House, and then it went on from there. And then when she was out, now it's, I forget. I can't remember. It's another representative from Arizona now that's taking on and has brought it all the way to the point where it is now. And his leadership at Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 28 in Norfolk, Virginia, contributed, I would say directly, to his decision to take his own life. And it's just crap. It's horrible when you've got leadership, which is why I put it in quotes on the frickin' caption and all that stuff. When the leadership torments people that sound different, look different, don't subscribe to your Vietnam era brain of females don't belong in a security police field, stuff like that. That's torment. And this kid went through torment. His command did little. Let me get that. Caserta had been bullied by a supervisor, and his command did little to stop the abuse while also actively working to prevent him from transferring to another unit. If I was able to transfer to another unit, I most certainly would have tried. But I was 18. I didn't know as much. I didn't know anything then compared to what I know now. But he died by suicide, and there's a new Del Toro directive. Commanders must make sure that sailors and Marines know how to ask for a mental health evaluation, and ensure that those who ask can get an evaluation as soon as practical, and treat a mental health evaluation referral like any referral for a physical health condition. Now, that is good in theory, but one person in leadership or a fellow troop gets wind of it, everybody knows about it. And then whatever's going on gets that much worse. And the fact that 1992 and 2018 is still the same bullshit is freaking, it's, I want to say it's unbelievable, but with the way the country is right now, everything that's unbelievable is, you just gotta believe it because it's right there in front of you. You can't freaking make this shit up. So this Del Toro directive right here, commanders must make sure that sailors and Marines know how to ask for mental health evaluation. That's the thing, though. They're not asking command. They have to ask their supervisor or whoever the leadership is, and then goes from there. What I think is that troops should be able to go to get a mental health evaluation by just walking in. By just walking in on their own, just walking in. Doesn't matter if they're on duty, if they're not, because this shit needs to be taken care of like that. You need to be on it like white on rice. And if you're not, things like this happen. So even though this Del Toro directive was, I mean, it's a good idea, and I'm thinking that they probably did go with it, but ensure that those who ask can get an evaluation. Who do they have to ask is the question. If it's direct supervisor or anything like that, it's always going to be someone that's a higher rank than you, hence leadership. And the fact that shit that I went through in 94, the end of 94 all the way to 1996 is still going on. I can't believe it. I freaking enlisted 31 years ago. God. Holy crap. It's still going on. And the fact that what I'm saying is still applicable. The policy self-initiated referral process for mental health evaluations of service members calls for annual training on service members' rights to request a mental health evaluation and requires commanders to maintain privacy by not asking providers to share the results of the mental health examination, except in cases spelled out in, Defense Department instruction, whatever the fuck. And the exceptions are, see, this is where it gets fuzzy, because this is leadership, mind you, and leadership is in contact with medical in some way, shape, or form. I just don't remember how, because I don't remember how leadership, or how my leadership knew what was going on when I would go to sick call, is what it was called. And I'd go to sick call, and they used it every time. They used it against me, saying, "Oh, you're just making it up to get out of work because you can't hack it," stuff like that. Because they have to ask, they need to be able to ask the direct person. They need to be able to, troops need to be able to go on duty or not, and if it's possible, they need to be able to go and ask directly to the person, or let there be a phone number. I mean, now it wouldn't have worked in 92 to 96, but it would work now. Everybody and the grandmother's got a phone in their pocket, so they don't have to do anything. They can just make a phone call. Then you have to get, once you've made the phone call, then you're into the medical blob, and then you have to worry about the capabilities of the medical to actually do what needs to be done and not just blow it off. So I don't know how that is nowadays, because I haven't talked to my kid about it, either one of them, and one of them's still in, so maybe I'll ask them at some point. But, and I apologize if you guys have been saying anything. I didn't put my phone here with the with my backup so I could see if I get smacked down like usual. But this freaking this policy, look at the freaking long ass name. So stupid. And everybody in the military knows this annual training is just a day to get off work. Nobody gives a shit. I'm pretty sure that hasn't changed either. So this right here can be used against the troop. See right here? Required by command, or by the command. This can be used against the troop for that lever to get them out. Get them out. Discharge. They can make up anything they want. all this crap. Because if all of this shit is still going on, that's the shit that was going on when I was in. They made up anything they could. They picked every single thing they could. And the thing that they used to get me, the thing that they used to force me out and to make sure that I didn't have access to my GI Bill was that I was going to sick call too much, and I was doing it to get out of work. Which, hey, guess what? 2 years later, paralyzed on the left side, diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Y'all can kiss my ass. I just so wish that I could frickin' have these jackasses lined up in front of me, or I could just give them a piece of my mind. But it'd be pointless anyway. I mean, they were frickin' Neanderthals anyway. So, okay. So, it's another way for leadership to use it as a lever if they want to get rid of the person from either their unit that they're in charge of or anything else like that. This is why I say torment, because this young man surely knew everything that I just said, and surely knew that he it seems to me like he didn't have an out. He had no way to ask, because the leadership would have just used it against him and tormented him even more. It's what they did to me. So, his dad is a retired Navy senior chief. So, Congress passed a law in 2021 requiring the services, military branches, to implement a policy that would allow service members to request a mental health appointment at any time and receive an immediate response. That's good. However, we're back to the who do they have to ask? Because if leadership is a go-between where you have to talk to leadership first, and leadership is the problem, just makes it worse. Makes it worse on the person that's asking. So, here's the part that really sucks. The Defense Department did not craft the policy in response to the law until this May. In the interim, 440 active duty service members across the 6 armed forces died by suicide, according to records kept by the DoD and the Coast Guard. So, while they were sitting on their freaking fingers, hands, whatever, bullshitting and doing whatever the hell that these guys aren't leaders. We elected them. They're not leaders, but they like to make it seem that way. The Defense Department sat on it, didn't do shit that needed to be done, and 440 died. Now, here's the thing. It's not known how many of those troops suffered from mental health conditions. Guess what? Somebody kills themselves? Mental health condition. Duh. Something's gotta be off for somebody to consider doing that and then going and doing it. I just... So, the new policy allows all members to get help, which is good. But they have to not have leadership as the gateway to ask for help, rather. You don't want to have to ask leadership. You want to just to be able to contact them yourself. And right now, if it's the way I'm just going to go by what I know, which is back when I was in. You have to adhere to the chain of command. You can't just go do something yourself. So, unless something changes, leadership is going to be the gateway for the service member to ask for help. Because in this case, even if Brandon had the ability to say this thing was enacted before everything happened with him, he would be in a position where he would have to ask his leadership, to get that appointment. But his leadership was the problem, so guess who's here? Hi, Ducky. What's up, Duke? I got 15 minutes left. Don't you start. Almost on time, right, Papa? Hello. You good boy. I know why you came in here, because I'm getting riled by this shit. I usually try not to think about it, but even at 12 and a half, this dog still does his job. It's what you were trained for, huh, baby boy? Yeah. Get that wagging tail. So, unless they can change it so that a service member can contact directly to ask for the help, there's still going to be that wall that they're going to have to go through. And there's still a stigma. I know there is. And I don't know if it's as bad as it was when I was in, but God willing it's not. But when you have to go to leadership to ask for something that shows that you may be not as fit for duty as they assume or they know. What Yuki says. That's basically putting a red flag up saying, hey, I'm not 100%. Then deployability comes in. And the ability to do whatever the job is that they joined, that they're doing as they're in the military. So there's just, all of this is good on paper, but there's still stigmas that, and even more, there's more than just stigmas, but there's all kinds of bullshit that can be a bar, be that wall that the person that already isn't in a great mental state, but tried to take that step to get some help. Leadership can't go through that freaking wall unless you have a tunnel. Sorry, cybersecurity. You have a VPN that you can just, go from point A to point B. You don't have to involve anybody else. Because once the leadership knows that there's an issue, that puts, like I said, the red flag, that puts more focus on you, which doesn't help with whatever the mental issue is that you're initially asking for help for. It's a vicious circle, and it just doesn't, it might not stop. And this young man, I just, jeez. I hate that 31, or, well, not 31. It was 2018, so 28 years after I enlisted, this shit's still happening. It's wrong, and I hate it. So this Del Toro, it was a DOD directive issued in May. The services were to implement the policy within 45 days for active duty members and then work to implement the policy for National Guard and Reserve. So here's what Del Toro says. Service members do not need to wait for referral for a mental health evaluation and can seek mental health treatment at their military medical facility at any time. Chain of command, leadership. Leadership is the fucking wall. There's got to be a way for the contact to be made, but then in another way, it will be abused by the jackasses that don't want to work and just go and do stuff just to get out of work. That wasn't me, and it wasn't Brandon either. I could tell from when I read about him. He got put in the canteen selling snacks and doing stuff over there instead of the job that he joined for. He initially wanted to be a Navy SEAL, if I'm not mistaken. And so stuff like this. Leadership, that's a freaking textbook leadership statement. Whenever I say leadership, I'm doing this around it, just so you know. Sailors and Marines are empowered and encouraged to directly seek mental health services as desired from any of these resources. Meaning these resources here. The only thing that might be possible without leadership intervention or leadership, or having to ask your leadership, is chaplains and the church in the military. And here we go. See? Here's the acting director of Navy's Office of Force Resiliency. Encourage sailors to seek support if they're facing challenges, calling it a sign of strength. No one believes that shit. No one. It's a freaking stupid little talking point for leadership to make it look good for them. Because, telling you, all this right here, what this acting director said, it requires courage, vulnerability, and a deep understanding of our own humanity. It is a powerful act that fosters connection and ultimately propels us toward personal and collective growth. Bullshit. That is bullshit. So, here's something else. His suicide note was a message to the Navy, and the way he died was the exclamation point. I wouldn't have wrote that way, by the way. So, his friends, in the weeks leading up to Brandon's death, friends said little seemed amiss with the smiling sailor they knew from the Gidunk, or however the hell you say that, canteen, at Helicopter C Combat Squadron 28 out of Norfolk. A goofy, happy-go-lucky type, Caserta was usually the first to volunteer for cleaning duty, aircraft wash, or field day, squadron mate said. And yeah, he regretted breaking a leg at Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL School 2 years before, and that forced him to drop out of training to become a SEAL, but he was still him. He was still happy-go-lucky. Now, let me tell you, when I read this, the goofy, happy-go-lucky type, first thing that popped into my mind, Robin Williams. Goofy, happy-go-lucky type. Funny as hell. Funny. He's not here anymore. Just because they're goofy, happy-go-lucky, you can't base what you see. You can't go by what you see. You have to watch how actions speak louder than words, basically. He was the kind of person that would drop whatever he was doing to help someone else. Day or night, rain or shine, he was always there. He was home for a few weeks in May 2018, and he was happy. Mask, visual, making plans for Christmas. He was a loving, caring, friendly kid. But the 21-year-old aircrew aviation electrician's mate Stryker did confide to friends via text that he was depressed about buds and unhappy with his rating, which he felt forced to choose from a limited selection after leaving the SEAL training pipeline. The fact that stuff like that's still happening is a pain in my ass too. Well, not a pain in my ass, it pisses me off. Because he broke his leg, he basically, Air Force says, washed out. And that puts not a stigma, but like a little cloak of not good enough over the person that gets washed out. And the fact that he was given a limited selection after leaving the SEAL training pipeline, not surprising, because that's the same shit that was going on when I was in. So here's the toxic leader. Caserta and his colleagues worked for a lead petty officer who berated them publicly, frequently cursed at them, and called them out for the slightest infraction. He teased Caserta as a Bud's dud. See? See? Right here. A Bud's dud. Given a stupid name for it. But that's that cloak, and that's that shroud of not good enough that basically is over you, over your name, over your head, over everything that you do if you wash out of something. Once intentionally dropped one of Brandon's care packages in front of him to watch the sailor's reaction. This motherfucker needs to go. He better have been freaking kicked out. He better have been kicked out. He better not still be in the Navy. But, unfortunately, I would say 8 times out of 10, he's still in the Navy. So, command leaders were aware of this abusive sailor, but they knew Caserta wanted out of the squadron. But they also knew Caserta wanted out of the squadron. He had applied for a transfer to the Naval Air Crewman rating and was accepted. But another accident happened, and he broke his collarbone while he was riding his bicycle, threatening his chance to make the move. Because of the injury, his orders were canceled, and he was sent back to selling candy and snacks for several months. And the progress he'd made in earning his professional qualifications as an aviation electrician's mate reset to 0. He'd been 72% complete. So he is getting slam after slam after slam from this jackass leadership jackass. Woo! And his chiefs told him that he couldn't reapply for aircrew until he completed the qualifications, and they also handed him a new requirement: get a driver's license so he could be cycled into the duty driver schedule and operate vehicles on the flight line. Except he didn't drive. He'd never owned a car, didn't have insurance, and while he had taken driving courses as a teenager, had never been on the road by himself. In fact, his parents, Patrick and Terry, said he had a phobia and hadn't been behind the wheel since taking a driver's course. He only went to the DMV to get a license so he would have a state ID and could legally drive in an emergency. Like many young people, Caserta relied on Uber, friends, and his bicycle to get around. But, of course, check this out. The Chiefs conducted a search of the Arizona Department of Motor Vehicles website and found that Caserta had once held a valid driver's license. Do you see the issue with that right there? Leadership. Doing what they can to gather information. They directed him to fork over $12 for a duplicate copy and told him they were sending him to a disciplinary review board for hiding the fact that he had a license. Here's this pounding. Everything's getting piled on top of this poor kid. And it's just not... It's frustrating to me to see this. This is practically pound for pound exactly what I went through. He would drive the command's 18-person passenger van and no longer inconvenience any other sailors by requesting transportation to and from medical appointments for his re-rate application, according to several command counseling sheets. Guess what? A command counseling sheet, if I'm not mistaken, there we go. Right there. Wow. You have not performed your required duties as a watchstander like your peers and superiors since your assignment to HSC 28 due to the fact that you stated you are not a licensed driver. Recommend disciplinary review board, said his counseling record. So, for Brandon, facing a year or more under the toxic LPO jackass, in a rating that he hated, getting behind the wheel of a vehicle and enduring a disciplinary board, yeah, that's a lot. He's 21. On the 25th, he left notes to several friends and his parents, walked out on the flight line. I'm not reading it. But this is what he did. Hey, Chirot. I'm sorry you have to see this, he yelled to the plane captain before he died. In his suicide note, Caserta faulted the Navy, asking his parents to go after the re-rate process that put him in a job he hated and exposed what he saw as a flawed command. Good for you, kid. I just wish you hadn't. Good for him. I want to see as many people fired, kicked out, or at the very least lose rank. Good for him. Here's what this says. The words could easily be attributed to a sailor angry at the system, not what happened, obviously. This command investigation concluded that Brandon was suffering from a number of stressors, including a feeling of worthlessness since he had dropped on request from special warfare training and dissatisfaction with the Navy. And here we go. Investigation found something else, a leadership problem in HSC 28 that started with Caserta's lead petty officer. The noted belligerence, vulgarity, and brash leadership was likely a significant contributing factor in AEAN's Caserta's decision to end his own life. There we go. This is the bullshit. This is the bullshit. This is freaking leadership covering for leadership. The investigator found sufficient evidence to take the LPO to captain's mast for violation of UCMJ Article 93, cruelty and maltreatment regarding Caserta, but the investigating officer then recommended against mast, instead suggesting the aviation electrician's mate first class, or AE1, be transferred with a declining evaluation. That's a slap on the fucking hand. I do not recommend mast due to the fact that the member can refuse captain's mast, enduring to a special or general courts-martial, further extended the timeline and exacerbating the healing process for all affected. Affected, not effected. Personnel. That is gobbledygook for bullshit. That was the investigator covering the jackass's ass. Well, hot damn, did I not call it? The lead petty officer remains in the Navy, never having received punitive action. Military.com is not naming him as he has not been discharged. Can you believe this bullshit? After all of this crap. I had the first one I read. The second one, I didn't read it. But I called it. He was still going to be in the Navy. Nothing's going to happen. Sure shit. That's what happened. Commander David Het, however the hell you say that name, the public affairs officer for Naval Air Force Atlantic, said the LPO was placed in a leadership position after his dismissal from another supervisory role because the Navy believes in leadership opportunities and second chances. That's what I got to say about that. And that's just... I had to close that because yeah, I couldn't look at that shit anymore. This is honor, respect, patience, and kindness. Brandon decided to join the Navy and worked very hard to get a Navy SEAL contract. He worked out with a great bunch of guys who he helped and pushed so they could get their contracts as well. Brandon would ride his bike everywhere. He put at least 17 miles a day on his bike and did this for about 4 years. Brandon would work out for hours, and that was after riding his bike. He was determined. So, here's... It's designed to protect service members who experience mental health emergencies and reduce the stigma around reporting. This is good, and it's a good step, but it has to be like the veterans support, the support line, the 988 I think it is, and then press 1. They need something like this for the entire military, all of them. There needs to be one number for each branch that they can call or text or do whatever, so that they aren't opening themselves up to more ridicule, more harassment, more bullshit. There has to be a way to do that. And we can't not do it because of the jackasses that are going to take advantage of it. There's going to be jackasses that are going to take advantage of it to do whatever, just to basically, they're not happy in the military anymore, so they're going to use it to try and get out and then have a rating, a disability rating with the VA. So they won't be in the military, but they'll be getting paid. Because there's still too much that you can lie about to the VA. There's still too much that can be lied about. It's just not. So, absolutely right. He was bullied and hazed. I didn't know he was hazed. See, here you go. Right there. He felt he could not get help from anyone because of the retaliation he knew he would receive. He actually told people in his chain of command that he was depressed, and all they told him to do was suck it up and go back to work. Wow. This is going back to, look at this. His father called the command, and Brandon was retaliated against for his father calling concern for Brandon's welfare and well-being. They were going to take him to captain's mast for not driving. There's his entire story and what happened to him on military corruption website. Link is in the additional stories. Additional. Where is that? I don't know where it is. Jeez. Look at this. After it happened, everyone on that flight line ran away. No one gave him medical attention. Y'all, this has been a heavy one, and remembering all that and reading what happened to that young man, I need to go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and end this one, because it's almost quarter after and I'm not doing so hot. So I hope I see y'all in the next one. I love you guys. Thank you, ground crew, for being here from day one. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And